Hey everybody, and welcome to Geeksvana Live. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I hope you're all very well. We've tweaked our start time slightly, as you can see. Just gives me a little bit more time on the evenings to be able to get something up and running for us all. Thank you very much for everyone that's joining us. Great to see a lot of the regulars in here. El Smeghead, you're late, you're fired. Eric Watts, Travels with Rosie. Legwork, Johnny DRC, Jim Beauchart, great to see you all. Andrew McQuillan, who? The Flyby guys, Stephen, one of my co-hosts who are waiting backstage. Aztec Drones, good to see you as well, sir. Really good to see you. Andy Keast, hello, GMI Visuals, Lindsay Hayes, TA Air, Kamikaze Chaos. Now, I learned how to say your name properly because you did kindly comment on one of my recent videos, so I appreciate that. And Mucka Mirrors, great to see you again as well. And Rod Piker Drones UK, hello, sir. Sorry if I've missed anybody, but thank you very much for coming in and joining us this evening. Tonight, a little bit of a UK-focused stream. We try to bounce our streams around as far as what they're actually focused on, but this is going to help you, hopefully, be able to find places to fly your drone, which, of course, now we're coming out of the lockdown restrictions and we're moving forward with things. We're hopefully getting out there with the warmer weather and everything and flying our drone a bit more. So this is a reminder of perhaps some tips and that type of thing of actually how to find places to go out and fly. So I'm very excited about this evening, actually, because anything that helps the hobby and helps us all get out there, I'm more than up for. So we're going to be speaking with my esteemed panel. I can hear someone eating in the background, actually. On my feedback. Is that Haribo? I'm gonna let's bring the guys in. Is someone eating Haribo?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
You had 2 cola, 1 ring, and some jelly bean or something. You had.
Just because you're jealous of my Haribo. It's
I'm
not actually
jealous
Haribo.
of your Haribo.
It's something else.
Very cool. Philip Koshat, thank you very much for the early $5 super chat there. Good afternoon, sir. Let's get ready to start the show. Thank you very much. Great to see you, Philip. Yeah, thank you. And again, thanks a lot to everybody who is in the chat, who's one of our channel members. I really, really do appreciate you all supporting the channel in such a direct way. It's fantastic. So how are you guys? Stephen, we'll start with you as you're not eating.
I'm not eating. I'm doing very well today. It's a bank holiday. It's a bank holiday here today, but I've been working.
Is it?
So yeah,
On a Thursday?
On a Thursday. It's actually Ascension Day, guys. Do you know that? It's Ascension Day.
Is that?
Do you know that?
Are we all?
Is that anything to do with the Ascension Islands?
Yeah.
No. It is actually a religious thing, guys, but it is Ascension Day.
So it is Ascension Day, right? Okay.
It is Ascension Day.
Where are you ascending to?
I have no idea. And I'll give you an amazing fact. This holiday today is responsible because of my mother-in-law, who gave this holiday to the people.
And who was your mother-in-law? Is sorry.
My mother-in-law. Well, she's my mother-in-law.
Well, could you give a little bit of context to that story?
Is her name Mary by any chance?
No. The complete opposite of what you would think, actually. But she was a lawyer for workers, and the workers wanted something, and she made sure that they got it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
good on her.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, and my wife and daughter are with her today.
That's very cool.
And actually, my daughter said to me
You've been abandoned, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been abandoned for days, but she said, "Why are we on holiday?" I said, "Ask your grandmother," because it's like she's the one who actually been on holiday.
She's literally.
So that was her mission. Yeah, quite literally. Yeah. So there you go. Interesting fact.
Could she get you like a National Stephen Day?
There is one. It's 26th of December.
I know, but that's not really your day.
Okay.
I mean, out of the 3 of us, Sean's the only one without a day. I've got a day. You've got a day.
Yeah.
Sean, you haven't got a day, so we need to sort this out.
I know. Well, every day's Sean Day in my calendar.
Look, guys, tell you what.
I'm a lucky boy.
That's only printed in your calendar, no one else's.
That's it.
I'll talk to my mother-in-law, okay?
Thank you. Yes, please. And then I can move to Finland and be happy with the Sean Day. Geeksvana Day would be cool, actually. Okay, just before we start into the main content, I just want to give a very... Oh, that went a bit wrong there. Before I start that, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do that again. There we go. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? A very quick shout out to our wonderful show sponsors, who in fact Andrew McQuillan is one of, Drone Masterclass. If you're looking for an A2 CofC or GVC course, head over to dronemasterclass.co.uk. There is a link in the description. It's also good to see people in the chat who are the winners recently from International Drone Day of the A2 CofC courses and GVC courses. So congratulations, guys. But yeah, if you're thinking about doing that as we're coming out of lockdown, there's links in the description. So go click it. So thank you, Andrew, for being a wonderful sponsor of the channel. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I insist.
Thank you.
No, I insist. Okay.
Nice, thanks.
So we're going to start off with one that we're not going to be able to resolve this one, but I want to, we can't talk about where we're going to go flying without talking about where we're going to take off from and land and that type of thing. And the good old not really an elephant in the room, because it's you know, it's not sitting in the corner not being discussed. It's probably one of the most discussed issues here in the UK for hobbyist flyers, is this whole thing of where you can take off, where you can't take off, and that type of thing. And I have a slight angle on it that I do want to discuss, but we'll come on to that. So first of all, we'll look at what CAP 722 says about this. And it says UAS operators must be aware of their responsibilities regarding operations from private land and any requirements to obtain the appropriate permissions before operating from a particular site. They must ensure that they observe the relevant trespass laws and do not unwittingly commit a trespass whilst conducting a flight. Now, the drone code itself basically states that you should go look for signs, and that some sites may have restrictions that are not listed in apps. You know, SSSIs and that type of thing might not be always on drone assist, etc. So it's an interesting one, because my sort of thought process whenever we're making videos on this type of thing is, how much do we actually expect your average hobbyist to do to find out if the piece of land they're standing on is, you know, who it's owned by, and whether or not they would give permission to fly? How would you, Andrew, how would you read that as far as the level of research that an average hobbyist needs to take before they fly?
First of all, it depends on Scotland.
Yes.
So let's talk about non-Scottish land first of all, because
Excellent.
Scotland's a different kettle of fish. And I would view reasonable behaviour in that circumstance is,
Okay.
if it's council land, checking for signs and checking council websites, because there's not really any other information sources for councils.
No.
So if they haven't listed it as, it's one of those hard. I mean, you can't automatically. It's one of those things that I would be very cautious about assuming positive affirmative consent without seeing something that says that. So I wouldn't necessarily just go, I can't find anything, it must be lawful, or permitted. But yeah, the typical ways they're going to inform you on a council basis are signs on the entrance, notice boards on site, or online.
Because the wording of it interests me, because of course CAP 722 is really, of course, it's the policy document, isn't it, of the air navigation order as such. So it's really telling you the CAA's enforceable sort of policy as their opinion on different aspects.
It's definitely their opinion, their advice.
Yes.
In terms of, it's not, your trespass is not enforceable under their navigation order.
No, that's right, exactly.
So it's more of a byline, because it's probably more of a byline because they've been asked. Now, this is probably a hangover from PIFCOs and PFAWs,
yes,
because they talked about you had to have landowners or managers' consent. So this is a hangover issue, I think.
Yes.
And they get a lot of questions, I believe, on this sort of tangent.
Okay.
But it's and there's a lot of councils out there that just don't understand or have struggles with this.
Well, then I'll give you another for instance, and Stephen, I will bring you in on this soon. Sorry, sir, to leave you silent with your fern tree in the background. Looking wonderful with your new lighting and everything, of course. But you know, we often talk about national trust. We often talk about different areas and parks where we know that they don't want you taking off from.
Mm-hmm.
The issue there is, of course, if you stand just outside that park to take off and that type of thing, keeping visual line of sight, making sure it's safe and all that type of thing. how do you assume where you are stood? How
so
a piece of grass verge or something like that? How can you assume who owns that?
So let's talk into sort of a more sort of complex angle on this that is more relevant for prosecution issues. So it's not so much where you take off from now. It's about having to control that 30-meter distance from you. And do you have the lawful authority to control that land?
Right.
You do not unless the landowner. Now, all sites have a landowner.
Yeah.
So if it's public land, it's a council or something similar.
Would you say that in terms of hobbyists as well, though? A hobbyist with a Mini 2 that doesn't have to have separation?
I'm saying if the air navigation order says you have to keep people a certain distance from you, you need the lawful permission of the landowner to enact essentially closures of that land during your takeoff and landing, or even just to ask people to stop. So the key issue here is you have to have the lawful consent to put those control measures in place. A landowner is more unlikely to give you that than they're more likely to give you a Mini 2 permission to take off in their land sort of thing on a civil act basis than they are for saying, right, I want to stop this footpath, I want to stop this public right of way. Also, public rights of way cannot be stopped without a regulation order, because we work in events. Lots of events will close rights of way.
Yes.
So if you have a rights of way across site, you have to put a notice period out. You have to do all this. So closing rights of way for takeoff and landing is actually way more complicated than people think. You can't just the key adage is, yes, you may have no one there, but what happens if they walk in during an emergency or when you can't have an alternative?
Absolutely.
You have to go into that having a plan to proactively deal with that. You can't just say, oh, it's an emergency, it doesn't apply to me.
Yes, and we all have to remember Article 241 whenever we're out flying, whether we're hobbyist or commercial flyers, that things, as you say, they have to be absolutely safe. It is very, very important, because this is coming up more and more. This is now becoming a thing where, because there are new drone rules, and of course people are approaching their local authority and saying, hey, there's new drone rules. So what am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do? And of course, a lot of them are finding out that the council's response to that is to just put a blanket statement up saying, we don't have the people to police this, etc., or we don't have the skills, so no flying, which just seems unfair.
One that was flagged up to me 2 days ago by Simon Strickland was Newcastle City Council, that says the policy says no flying from our land at all. And that's even for commercial as well, isn't it? They're saying they won't even give a GVC pilot permission, etc. Yeah. And in my opinion, wrongly, they're also saying you can't fly over the highway without our permission, and we won't authorize it. And then, well, that's not covered under your flying over things is not covered by them. But so I would say that was somebody trying to apply to do things for surveys and inspections, not for anything nefarious. So that's somebody saying I need to do a survey of this building or whatever. So the key thing is you have to control during takeoff and landing. And if you can't do that lawfully, i.e. the permission of that, if it's a public lane, you need whoever is in charge of that lane. Now, no land is uncontrolled. Somebody controls all land. If it's not an agency, it's probably the Crown Estate potentially, or the county council, the city council. So all land is controllable. There are various ways you can check that online to find out who owns the land.
There is, yes, indeed.
It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder for farmland.
There are things like the Crown Estate foreshore map, which of course they allow drone takeoff from any of their foreshore. So if you Google that, the Crown foreshore map, and there's a very helpful little map which shows all the areas and some pretty scenic areas as well where you can legally take off with explicit permission to take off as well, which is good.
But equal as well for in terms of beaches and things, there's a mark on a beach where it becomes Crown Estate.
Yes.
So if you're taking off from that and the Crown Estate says yes, then you're fine, even if that council says no.
That's right. Exactly.
But it comes down to, if you have to have a 30-meter distance, you have to be 30 meters away from their land.
Okay, excellent.
Which can be hard with the tide coming in.
I do just want to bring one thing up this in the chat very quickly, because this is a subject which is beyond visual line of sight. I've got a video which actually Stephen has been helping me with putting me in touch with some of his colleagues in the aviation industry. And it's actually GMI Visuals is saying that if sub 250 gram is so safe that we can basically fly anywhere, what's the issue with BV loss as long as we stay well below the ceiling? And I thank you for asking the question, GMI Visuals, because this is one of the reasons why I'm making an entire video about this, is to have this conversation rather than just have the conversation in terms of some drone channel flying their drone 50 miles out and back type thing and no one really wanting to talk about it. this was a conversation that I want to have. The thing I would say, and there's obviously been chat between yourself and El Smeged regarding helicopters, etc., is it's not necessarily the harm for me. It's not necessarily the harm the drone's going to do to a chopper. That isn't personally the issue. The issue, one of the issues, this is a base issue for me, which is why in one of my videos I have an interview with an emergency services helicopter pilot, which I'm filming very soon, who is also a drone pilot. So he's a highly qualified guy on both sides of the manned and unmanned side of things. And it's conflict. And the problem is that if you're flying that drone in an airspace where an emergency helicopter is looking to go straight through there, if he spots your drone, he has to avoid the conflict. It's not whether or not he's going to hit you or not. So you are sidelining emergency services from being able to safely complete their function. You also have no idea if that drone does go down, where it's going to end up, etc., whether it's going to end up in a road and putting traffic off and causing accidents, etc. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of issues which can happen.
Well, imagine yourself running out onto a road.
Yeah.
You know, if that road is busy, yes, you have the right to be on the road. But if you run out onto the road and there's lots of traffic, even if a car or cars don't hit you, there might be an ongoing, that could be a chain of
ripple
events,
effect,
which,
as it were.
Yeah. So it's
I mean,
that
I
kind of
it
issue.
I've recorded one interview with another pilot who's actually a fixed wing pilot. And in that conversation, it was likened to kicking a soccer ball into the middle of a motorway, from the point of view that soccer ball itself isn't even going to break a car windscreen. It's not even going to damage a car wing mirror, but actually the distraction it causes can have that ripple effect. And can cause problems.
Do you remember the M5 incident about 2 years ago with the smoke?
Yes.
Somebody lit a bonfire and they didn't touch, the smoke just drifted across, but that resulted in a serious, multiple fatality pilot because it was the indirect actions. And I think they were prosecuted for that. I could be wrong, but there was definitely some action taken against them in relation to that.
There was,
I would give 2 examples. We were involved with an incident once when we worked for the emergency services, whereby somebody decided to take their own life off a bridge. And that then caused serious consequences for an elderly couple coming in a car below who tried to avoid. I had an incident 2 days ago. What day is today?
Thursday.
Yesterday, whereby we were out filming. I was flying EVLOS to 1,000 meters. I had a crew for that procedure. Like one of those, it's not a microlight, but it's one of those ones with the 2-person cab, fixed wing, and like a big engine up here. Decided to take off from the field. There's no markings for that field. There's nothing. It's an old airbase, but it's not used as an airbase. It's used as a caravan park. And it just took off while I was flying. And we had to stop because he or she was well below for 400 feet.
Yes.
So
yeah. It's. I mean, this is a conversation. Thank you for bringing it up, GMI. As I say, I'm not criticizing you for wanting to have this conversation whatsoever, and the whole idea that I've got at least one, it's possibly turning into 2 videos, knowing me with the length of my videos sometimes. But it's a subject and a debate that I want to have in the open, in the normal way we try to have them on Geeksvana. That hey, here are some facts, and now let's discuss them because I think that is important. And you're saying, GMI, one of your responses is that beyond visual line of sight with the Mini 2 could be around 300 meters. I agree with that. Whilst you can't see the drone anymore, I can certainly see a chopper coming in. The problem is situational awareness. And once you cannot see the drone, you no longer have situational awareness. And one of the things actually which struck me, and there's a follow-up to rules. So Stephen, make sure I say the rules thing next. But one of the things that struck me is actually the risk factor. And if there was the same risk every time we took off our drones that there is for someone in a manned aviation, in a helicopter or a plane, they tend to try and make sure everything's correct and legal because they could die. Whereas, of course, we could lose, yes, a very expensive drone or get arrested and, all of the other different bits and pieces. But actually, there are significant issues which can happen for manned aviation, so hence they try to do things correctly. My other issue with beyond visual line of sight, which is probably the biggest single one, is actually not giving the anti-drone police, the anti-drone brigade, the anti-drone Karens, the weight to be able to say this hobby isn't responsible. Look at these videos. Look at these X amount of videos of people flying across the whole of Brighton with a Mini 2. Yes, it came back safe, and yes, they've done it 20 times without issue. But that my issue with that is it's the same as I would be concerned. I have a sports car. I would be concerned that they'd want to ban sports cars if suddenly there were just videos everywhere of people breaking the law just with that particular sports car or something. So I'm concerned from the point of view of conflict with manned aircraft, and also because of the steps they have to take, but also because I don't want that kind of thing to be used to restrict our hobby further, especially something like the sub 250 gram drone rules that we have in the UK here at the moment, which I'm very, very keen, which I know a lot of our viewers are very, very keen to keep hold of, frankly.
Yeah, I think that, that is a very, very good point, is that, even if it is a small minority, and it is a minority, so it's not, but it's like anything else. A minority will always be heard. They'll make the headlines. That's the ones that make the headlines. I mean, I think I said to you guys actually today is that there was a piece of news that there was some good things that happened from a drone, but the news report that actually reported that part of news didn't even mention the drone.
Yes.
But if that drone had actually done something bad, which would have caused that thing, then it would have been news. So, we have to work with what we have, and the press like bad stories. And if people continue to
I mean it's just I just fear that, and I'm not saying, hey, if you're going to do beyond visual line of sight, don't put it on YouTube, because I honestly don't think you should be doing it, full stop. That's just my personal opinion. But I think the amount that are online is a genuine threat to the hobby. From the point of view of if somebody did want to, let's say, I don't know, ex-politician says, okay, I want to win some votes by the fact that I don't like drones and drones are dangerous, so I'm going to gather all these YouTube videos up and I'm going to show how irresponsible the hobby can be. And it doesn't matter that we've got decades of RC flyers and fixed wing flyers and scale heli flyers and drone flyers and FPV guys out there who have never had a crossword with anybody in 30 years of flying. That won't matter, because these things will just play over and over again.
Can I just call it? So GMI Visuals has just said, one of the last messages, but you can see clearly on the screen for any approach it. I'm sorry, if that's ridiculously dangerous. You can do lawful extended visual line sight as we do, 2 kilometers, whatever you can do. You can do that lawfully, but you should never be flying from the screen. That is a recipe for disaster, and no one should be condoning that. That is, one of the worst things you can do. That would fail your flight test and an exam. That is breaking the law. You're breaching the air navigation, or if you're solely flying from the screen.
Yeah, indeed, and that is that is to me one of the really big issues, is that the situational awareness isn't there. It's the same reason why they require a spotter here and in the States. In most of the Western world, spotters required for FPV, etc., because of that situational awareness issue. So it's something. It's, as I say, there is a couple of videos coming up on it, and I appreciate you bringing it up, because it is a debate we're going to be having on Geeksvana, and we're going to have it in the open, and we're going to talk about it and be able to say how we feel, so that perhaps we can all learn a little bit more about the different side of things. And
just remember, in the future, EVLOS will be easier to attain, because there will be additional qualifications under the EASA-led system in terms of bolt-ons.
Yes.
And EVLOS may be the first one or second one to come out. And that will give you a set procedure for under PDRA for EVLOS. We fly EVLOS by having other flight crew down the line with radios back. We verify the radios are working, and we can fly kilometers in terms of EVLOS. But unless you're doing that to the approved CEA plan, do not do it.
And the other thing I would say is as far as being caught and that type of thing, is that the drone detection side of things, as again Mr. McWilliam will know well from Crowded Space Drones, it is an ever evolving system. It is something that can detect drone flights tens of miles away from where drone detection equipment's being operated. So the likelihood of people being caught flying greatly beyond visual line of sight is going to increase in the next few months and years. And obviously with things like the drone bill coming in, we do have to be careful.
And don't forget remote ID. So Mucka Mirrors has said, does the CA actually police these videos? Remember, open category is a policing issue now, not a CA issue. But they do. What you will find with the CA is they are naturally very, in terms of people's data and things, they're obviously naturally private. Some commercial operators are not deemed as commercial operators in that sense. So anything where they take action, unless they go to public appeal because the person has appealed it, you will almost never find them making a public statement in relation to it because it could prejudice it. But you'll be surprised how many people are getting action taken against them across the UK. That will increase with the new police powers that have been approved by Parliament and been ascended through the House of Lords. I think it's had royal assent now. But you will never know the true extent. You don't know how many people got caught speeding today in the UK. It's the same thing with drones.
Yeah.
You'll never know the full extent, but they are being caught every day.
Exactly. And for me, it's the videos, the online stuff is more about the picture it paints of the hobby rather than necessarily people being prosecuted directly. Because of course, the same as the debates with the chap in Philadelphia who was actually fined. He gave them all of the legal issues, all of the legal points they needed, which the main ones are obviously who's definitely flying and when it actually happens. Because obviously with criminal prosecutions here and in the States, when something precisely happened is very, very important. You can't just say it happens between the 12th and 15th of May, but actually, of course, if you live stream that video, etc., we all know the background of that particular issue.
I would come back to the speeding issue again here, because and things like restrictions of airspace are a bit like a speed limit sign. I was saying don't fly here, don't speed through here, don't do the speed. So the key thing with that is that not everyone gets caught, but the more prolific offenders or the ones who are more dangerous are the ones that typically do get caught. So that's not an encouragement. People should be able to can break that rule.
Yes,
but you'd be surprised. I'm a bit more exposed to how many were getting caught and things to an extent in some respects. So we see it daily. I had 2 phone calls in relation to such things today. But it's definitely not something that should be taken lightly. You're going to get caught more and more nowadays.
Yeah, which really is one of the things I want to get across as well. Is we are now entering an era where it is going to happen. You are going to be traced. But
that's not negative. That's just the evolving of the industry. Every industry goes through that piece where
I'm not saying I have anything wrong with someone that's breaking the law being caught, but I'm more trying to say to the hobby, we need to consider these things. If you think we should fly beyond visual line of sight, well then let's start that campaign. Let's prove that it's safe, and let's get the law changed.
But we're not saying it's not safe, because the CEA and the EASA are looking at bringing in additional qualifications in those areas. So it's safe if you do this. That's why I'd say it's safe to drive a car at this speed if you do this. Same thing. We're at the stage of the industry, like the gas industry for gas whatever equipment in houses, that was unregulated back in the day. Then it had to go through regulation because of some bad problems and things. And we're now at a stage where it's quite regulated significantly. I would say drones have been through a very similar process, and we're now at a stage where regulation doesn't impact on what you do. You just have to do some things in a certain way or get a document to do it and things.
No, exactly.
I think that also at the same time, there are lots of tests going on for BB laws. There's there's lots of lots of research going on, and they're taking, all the data from that to see if it's possible in a built-up area or even the middle of nowhere. So one thing that GMI Visuals has said, that flying, you just said in the past comment, that flying beyond visual line of sight in a built-up area is definitely no, but in the middle of nowhere. Now, that is just as bad, because just like they were just saying earlier on, that you don't have the situational awareness. Now, you can have aircraft, you can have helicopters, you can have emergency service. And very often, a lot of the emergency service aircraft don't have their ADSB on because they like to keep things private. So I mean, even if you have a drone which has the ability to know if there's an aircraft nearby, a lot of those aircraft will not even be actually broadcasting because they like to be private. Yes. So again,
and there's no requirement at the moment.
Yes, true.
Yeah, and as I say, GMI Visuals, we're bringing your name up because you're one of the braver people that are willing to to comment on this in the chat. So I do appreciate that, honestly. And as usual, Geeksvana is an open format for people to come and discuss things and talk about things. And I see what you're saying as well in your most recent comment that people with 300 meters with a Mini 2. Well, yes. I mean, visual line of sight is visual line of sight depending on that drone. The issue you have is, let's say you're 400 meters with your Mini 2 and you cannot see it, and something happens. When there is the investigation into what happened, when they look at the software and say, okay, 400 meters, you cannot see the drone at that in this weather and at that distance, then it's no longer going to be necessarily a happy end to that situation. If you've done everything possible to maintain a safe flight and something still goes wrong, you're not going to, in my opinion, you're not going to have the book thrown at you by the police or the CAA, because they can see that you're responsible and something's happened, something's gone wrong. Whereas actually, you're more likely to be, of course, in anything, you're more likely to be prosecuted if you are already flouting the regulations to be there in the first place.
Yeah, but also one thing is we're not talking about the police or CAA really going off YouTube videos. There's other sources of information for them that may lead them to look at you more closely. But we're not talking about prosecutors. Yes, things can be edited.
Yes.
We actually had a job come in the other day where we're going to be on the boat flying along on a 4-kilometer stretch of river. So that's fine, because we'll be on the boat, a flat bottom boat, chasing that piece of action. And that's totally lawful, because we'll never be with more than 300 meters really, but albeit with Inspire 2. So there's lots of ways. That's why your YouTube video may look like a 3-kilometer flight. It's not. I'm not saying we're doing things off YouTube videos, but people are getting caught for not keeping visual line of sight. And it's not just a case of distance. It could be you can't see the drone because the sun is in your eyes. You have no idea where it is. You don't know if you may not see if helicopters are coming towards you. It's not just the distance. It has to be visual line of sight. That's why they don't say, oh, it's this, it's whatever distance you can see the drone at. There's lots of factors that can affect that locally. Like one of the biggest ones I find typically flying every day is sunlight. If you've got bright sun in your eyes, you cannot see that drone.
Yeah, and also one other. Okay, I mean, this is really good, my visuals. It's really good that you're bringing these things up, and it's really pushing it out here. But you're saying here, but you would see a chopper easily, even if you were using if you're using the screen so much. Actually, you wouldn't. So. What you tend to have with a chopper is that you will hear it first. Now, if you have wind, if you are downwind, you won't hear a chopper until the very, very last minute. I live in an area where there's quite a lot of choppers flying around here, and they can just come up to you just like that. So you don't hear them from a distance. They will just be within literally a couple of 100 meters.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear them.
And I can vouch for that, because the flying field that I'm a member of, we have full planning permission to be there and been there 30 something years, way longer than I've been flying. But we're next to an RAF base, and we have the Chinooks and the Apaches flying up, and those things are of course coming across at whatever 100 feet they decide to come across at. And actually, even something the size of a Chinook, you'd be surprised at how quickly that from my first hear of those beautiful double gearboxes to suddenly it's here is sometimes a little bit freaky.
But one thing I would point out is whenever I was flying at the Liverpool Test Concert Festival event the other week, because that's one of our contracts, and does everyone know the term steel shield fencing? It's the big green fences around festivals.
Yes.
So there was a police incident on the railway line, nothing to do with the event. It involved the police helicopter deploying. I was told on radio that had deployed. When I knew where it was, because I could just about see it through the trees, I knew I was given a bearing by the police officer standing beside me. But the sound profile, because of the fencing and the infrastructure for the event, was coming from a different angle because it was bouncing off structures.
Right.
So sound will never give you a true bearing in all circumstances to that aircraft. I thought it was way over to the right. It was far over to the left. And luckily I was able to get a visual on it, but we curtailed what we were doing. We were initially flying at 600 feet. We didn't. We came down to 400 for that because again, it was still a kilometer or more away, but that's seconds away from us. And all you have to do is look down at the controller and look up and it's there. I get what you're saying. At 300 meters, you'll hear a helicopter. Yeah, fine. Yeah. I accept that. But we're talking about how quickly it can catch up on you. Yes. And I've had a helicopter under a motorcycle race fly under us, hedge hopping, where we had less than 2 seconds warning.
Yeah. And what happens about the helicopter pilot? If he or she who's flying it sees a drone at 300 meters, it will cause them to also divert.
Yes.
This is also another aspect
Conflict.
as well. This is a conflict that we get. So it's not about you flying. It's about everyone. It's about being safe, because he or she who's flying does not know that you're there. And if they see a drone, they just see that that's something that's in the airspace that pretty much shouldn't be there. So they will react to it.
But remember the rules of the air. Who has to avoid who?
Exactly.
Unmanned avoid manned. It's not their job to avoid you. If you're putting them in the position where they have to avoid you, I would argue that's an air prox.
Yeah, and what they will do is they will actually report that. They would then report that.
That's another drone story. It's another drone story.
I would agree with the terrible down-doers of aspects of the drone industry and different news channels and things, that I would agree that air proxies are probably one of the worst sources of negativity towards the drone community.
Yes.
I do not think they're all right. We have worked at airports for a long time with very high-profile operations where we've had exposure to police officers who deal with those things and different things. We have filed air proxies and gone through the process ourselves. We did not enjoy that process because they would not hear directly. They do not hear directly from drone pilots. They will take an in-person hearing from a manned pilot. So those are entirely biased processes that we, quite frankly, do not agree with their prox process in relation to drone incidents. But at the same time, if they put one in, that's just down do. That's just giving the Daily Mail fodder to say drones are terrible. Let's ban them.
Yeah.
And that's what caused the industry problem. So that's why we're all trying to be as safe as possible and not get to the Daily Mail headlines of, air ambulance nearly taken out by a drone. I think everyone's probably seen the faking casualty did of a drone hitting an air ambulance.
Yes.
We don't want the Daily Mail to put that up and say, this is what could happen.
Yes, no, exactly. And, but so again, this is a debate which is going to be happening on Geeksvana. This is a discussion, and I'm going to bring different sides of that discussion to the fore, so we can all have that debate in the open. So yeah, thanks for raising it, GMI Visuals, because it's one of the important issues of the hobby at the moment, from the point of view of protecting the hobby and keeping the hobby safe. So I genuinely appreciate it. Okay, moving on to the next topic. National trust. Now, we've spoken about national trust before, and I say national trust as a big banner, but I mean national trust-esque. So other sort of stately homelands and controlled by large organizations.
You put a disclaimer: other annoying organizations are available.
Yes, that's right. Other highly annoyed and frustrated that it seems every month Geeksvana keeps mentioning. Yeah, you can fly over national trust. Which hey, I still feel that way. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about here again is, looking at what we were just talking about in terms of CAP 722 and the CAA's guidance towards land ownership, etc. That obviously flying, over a national trust property is something which is possible to do, of course, and perfectly legal to do, especially if you've got something like a Mini 2 where you can fly over people and separation distances and all that type of thing. But one of the things that I would factor in again is good old Article 241, that you have to make sure it's safe. And just remember that we are coming out of lockdown, so these places are going to be opening. They're going to be full of people. And the video that I had out a couple of days ago talking about flying over people, that when you get to assemblies of people, so i.e. any individual in that crowd can't move out of the way quickly, then you are going to fall foul of where you can fly. So just be aware of that with these types of things. But yes, it's been asked again a few times, so I wanted to cover that very quickly and just say yes, national trust properties, etc. You can fly over them. The airspace, the usable, reasonable airspace above them is something which you can use with the right drone, right qualification, all those sort of things in place. But just be wary of things like Article 241 and just make sure that flight is particularly safe. Anything to say on that particular one, guys?
No, I mean, the one thing I've noticed personally with was that whilst their policy is no, asking on site usually a yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would try and subtly document that if you can, like a dash cam or something, just to prove that happened, because their head office is not going to say that happened. No. But if you can do that, then Mini 2 or whatever, perfect. But I would ask on site, because if somebody on site says yes, then you've got a very good basis for it was not my issue. It's your internal policy issue.
Yeah, no, indeed.
There's a beach in Northern Ireland, the National Trust Beach in Port Stewart doesn't say no at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I've been to several national trust properties where you just knock on the door and the local manager, because sometimes in actual fact it can be national trust in inverted commas as well, can't it? It can actually, they're part of their marketing strategy and that type of thing, but actually it's locally controlled completely.
Yeah, the organization that uses lots of drone footage to advertise its properties doesn't let you fly drones. Yeah, that's a good one.
Indeed. And just before we move on to the apps part of things and actually how they can help you find places to fly, etc. There is just one thing which I wanted to touch on, which I've brought up a few times over the last couple of years I've been running this channel, but it is what I call permission flying, and actually you can have a lot of fun with that, where you find interesting locations within your area or however far you're willing to travel. I'm going to one nearly 3 hours away next week, and you actually reach out to the landowner, you reach out to the owner of that building and you say, hey, you've got a really interesting building because of XYZ reasons, and I'd really love to come and fly it. And you would be surprised at how many yeses you get. And then you've got a situation where, because you're notifying the people in the building, they know when you're coming, that type of thing, and they're emailing you in writing that they know you're going to be operating within those times. You're then starting to get involved people situations as a hobbyist. So you're going to be able to get closer and you're going to be able to get some really nice footage and be very confident while you're there. So that's just one thing that I would point out, because permission flying is fun, frankly.
I said to Mike Drennan. Mike Drennan asked, is the National Trust like a national park in the USA? The National Trust think they're like a national park in the USA in terms of their ability and powers and teeth, but they're a charity that runs some sites because the government doesn't want to pay for it. So they think they're a national park. They have not federal and they have no authority on a federal basis.
Yeah, Mike, think more English stately home. Death taxes are way too high, so they donate the house or part of the house to the public good. This company, this charity come in and run that for them, open it up to the public, and sort of charge you £10 to come in for the day, that type of thing. That's who they are, and they do some very important work. They do carry out some very important work. But as Andrew says, they do feel like that they really should have FBI badges or something.
They think their bylaws, which are very much a case of just terms and conditions of entry rather than any legal power, are federal law.
Yes. Yes, no, exactly. So again, permission flying, I honestly think it is something which is a lot of fun. I've flown churches, mosques, all sorts of things, monasteries. There's a lot of last June happening there.
Last June, I flew in a Victorian sewage works.
Very cool.
With Alan Carr. Alan Carr.
Oh yeah, you told that story. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was fun. It was just unique. I mean, who else says they filmed a TV show in a sewage works?
Yeah, exactly. But Fish Diaries brings up a very good point. If there's no one there and it's safe, he doesn't see the issue with National Trust, and I completely agree with you. And that's that thing where we've talked in previous videos when we talk about things like congested areas and people and that type of. It is fluid. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm not necessarily 5 o'clock in the morning, but at golden hour, getting that 6:30 a.m. sunrise, then yes, there aren't many people around. The facility itself isn't even open. Then that's absolutely, it's a much safer flight.
A lot of the work we would do in Central London would be early doors morning, like 5 a.m. in the summer, because you have much easier just to control things.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's face it, it's going to be a much better shot when there's no people in it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always a much better shot.
Well, if the three of us are in it, it's more picturesque shot,
the three of us, I don't know about that. The three amigos. Yeah.
The three amigos.
Okay, well, if I'm in it, it looks lovely.
It's good to have confidence, Andrew. It's good. Yes, that's all I say on that one. No comment. Okay, I just want to talk very quickly about something we've got coming up next Friday. Then we're going to move on to the apps and talking about those for our members. And look at that! Look at that! Doesn't that look effective? Right over the right over the middle of everybody.
Yeah. I can see who you favour, me or Stephen. It's clearly Stephen.
Well, yeah, or you can see who was last in. So that's where they're. Is
that a Mavic 3?
That's actually the Phantom 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so next Friday,
Mini 8.
Next Friday, the 21st of May at 7 p.m. UK time, we're having a members exclusive for Vana Army members and above. this is going to be one of our first drone mentor sessions, which are going to be monthly sessions where basically Vana Army members and above are going to be able to join a live stream. So there'll be a live stream and also I'm pressing the wrong buttons, and also a Zoom meeting, a Google meeting type setup, where you'll basically be able to hear about how to start and build a drone related business, whether you want to earn money with your Mini 2 or whether you actually want to go the whole hog, get your GVC operations manual and go down that route. And we're going to have different experts on different weeks. This month we've got these two guys actually joining because they are both very successful drone business entrepreneurs. But we also have somebody coming over from the US as well. Actually, not coming over; they're joining us by video. That sounded like I'm flying someone over. Again, who has actually built a very successful business from their garage.
Donald Trump?
Out. It's not Donald Trump, no. But thank you for getting me demonetized. No, I'm joking.
Can you say who it is?
Thank you for splitting the audience so
make drones great again.
Join us for that. Vana Army members and above, so it's Vana Army and Geek level members will be able to enjoy that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interactive. There's obviously going to be a smaller group than one of our normal live streams, so you're going to be able to get your own personal specific questions answered, etc., and actually build that up over the month. So you're going to be able to come back to the following one and be able to say, hey, I tried this and what this happened and what do you think about this, etc. So it's an exciting thing which I think is actually going to have a direct impact, which I'm very happy about. And just to plug, if you want to become a channel member, then hit the join button below, click it, or there is a link in the description below as well to become a channel member. It shows you all the different levels and the different perks that you get for being a different level of member. So yes, thank you for bringing Trump into the chat. I appreciate that.
Is it the top tier member gets Andrew's phone number for direct call every day, isn't it?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's the bottom tier because you don't want that. So.
Oh, and you get added satisfaction of his wonderful YouTube links that he sends to you.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm just a very creative person,
but I am genuinely looking forward to that. So I think it's going to be good, and I'm interested to see where it goes and whether we can actually get some businesses off the ground, which have started.
Well, given their drone businesses, I would hope.
Drone mentor, so
yes.
I mean, if we don't get any drone businesses literally off the ground, then we've probably done a very bad job as mentors.
Yes, I would agree with you there. Okay, moving on. So the first app I want to talk about tonight is one that we've talked about a lot on Geeksvana before, but of course, when you're looking for somewhere to fly, it's very important in the UK. Similar to the Before You Fly app over in the States, the Drone Assist app. And I'm going to give a very good example of how it can be very, very handy, actually. Oh, you're about to say something.
So I found an amazing thing out yesterday about this, thanks to another pilot called Alex, and there's a new invention in it.
In Drone Assist?
Yeah, you could do shapes.
You can do, as in you can...
It's not circles, you can do shapes now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Didn't know that. Started to see shapes. I thought,
who has been updating that app then? That's a bit.
It's a third party that creates a KML thingy.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, it's a K. Yeah.
I'd love to see someone take that over and really,
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Andrew do a triangle. And next week.
I'm just going to cover the whole of the UK because we're quite across everything. Just call it all in, go crowded space drones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just draw around the coastline.
Yeah, it's like leave out Dilemman. It's just pretty much us.
Well, I was actually organising a flight for myself over in Barnum, which is actually now where I've decided to go next week because of the particular NOTAMs. Now, let me just get this so that
your maps are definitely off today because Euston is not there.
Euston.
Euston is definitely in North London.
Okay, well that is actually another Euston. So I was basically, as you can see on this little map here, I'm going to be flying there, which is actually a former nuclear weapons RAF base. It's between RAF Milden Hall and the other one down there. My brain's not working. Sorry?
Down that way. Okay.
Down that way. And as you can see, I'm right on the edge. Well, the day I was going to be going was right on the edge of the NOTAM you can see here on the left-hand side of the screen, which was basically military parachuting and article drops. So I felt that my proximity to that particular NOTAM was a little bit too close for me. I'm not sure. Military parachuting and article drops, the military part suggests precision, but the fact that they are dropping articles and parachutes means that I thought, do you know what? It wouldn't take too much for a couple of parachutes to come a few hundred feet out of the area.
The key term there is suggests.
Yes.
Suggests doesn't mean it is precision.
Yeah.
Just suggests.
It just suggests. So again, I decided that I would leave that. And the other thing I do like about Drone Assist actually is that it does show the ground hazards, things like the power lines and RAF bases and that type of thing, etc. So it is very, very useful from the point of view not just of NOTAMs and danger areas, etc. But it does actually, I find it very useful from the point of view of being able to know exactly what's going on the ground as well. So it's a great app.
Just to bring us back full circle to the EVLOS.
Yes.
The reason I like the fact that it's got the new features through that KML thingamabobber means that you can mark out EVLOS or BVLOS route in more detail, which then is more safer, more safer. That's terrible English. That's safer for other pilots to be aware of. That is the route, because before all you could do is do a circle and say EVLOS, whereas now you can actually put your route in with a bubble around it.
Oh, that's very cool.
And that's a lot safer for everyone.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that an awful lot. Moving on to the next app, and of course the next one is the let me see if this little app window launches. There we go. And this is the web browser version of it actually, but UAV forecast, which with all of its limitations, I'm still a decent fan of this app because it does give you certainly in the free version. I think the paid version gives you a few more days notice actually, but it does give you predictions of wind, speeds, gusts as well as you're going up through the heights, which I think is very, very useful. Also gives you the cloud cover, etc., and that type of thing, visibility.
I like this, but I've never actually I've never looked into, are the formulas for the wind difference altitude correct?
On average, I found them pretty decent. To be fair,
but I think if it's close, if you can see that the speeds are, then I think it's kind of close enough, because it's going to be varied. I mean, even if they say that it's going to be, it's going to be 10 meters per second with maybe 12 gusts. As Johnny Mack, never on the ball. Yeah, as Johnny Mack is saying, UAV is a rough guide locally, and it can be a bit dodgy, because I've had red for some reason. I'm stood there and there's literally there isn't a breeze,
Yeah. I do love it when people. I've seen lots of people before just install the app and go, it's always red. It's never. I think it's a bit fiddly, that app. You have to do a little bit of kind of you have to do a bit of jiggery pokery with it, and that's what I don't like about it, because you should be able to just put an app up, bang, and then it shows you. I think it's taking the decision away from the pilot too much.
Yeah, but the app needs to be changed to be obviously bespoke to the, because each drone is going to have different tolerances as well. So, I think it's sort of not lazy, but sort of I'd rather go where I know what the forecast is. I can work that out myself.
Yes,
because that just keeps you on your toes more.
That's right.
I just don't like it doing too much work for you, because it then breeds complacency to an extent.
Exactly.
I'm never going to change from knowing where my near airports are and doing NOTAM or not NOTAM METAR. I'm never going to change from that, because that's the most accurate you're going to get.
Yes, and of course you are a professional, and you would always do things the professional
way. Yeah, but A2 teaches you that now, so I think you should be. I'd rather they were checking weather charts and things like this. I don't use Windy as much myself, but I use rain radars to have a look and see what's coming and sort of work out patterns. So I'd rather rely on looking at the data myself. I'm not saying I'm a qualified meteorologist.
No, indeed. And windy.com is certainly another one which I would recommend, because it does give you more detailed outlook of things like wind patterns, and you can see what's actually happening, in terms of weather in a much more global scale. But I know this is one that you're a particular fan of, Stephen, as well.
Yeah, we use this for all our operations, and what I really like about it is that you can have 5 to 7 days, advance, and actually. I would say that the advance is actually pretty accurate. It's actually very accurate. So I've had 5 days planning where I knew that we wouldn't be flying at all, and when those, when those 5 days came around, it was exactly right. So, and there's no jiggery pokery with it. It does what it says on the tin. You just have to get it in the right place. You can mark it on the exact spot that you're going to be flying. And even if you're just up the road a little bit, it will change because,
it's very efficient really as well, isn't it? It's very well put. You can tell, obviously, I love Drone Assist, but of course it is an old clunky thing. But you can tell with this website the amount of work that's gone into it, and just the amount of detail and different things that you can bring up, like the wind and the wind gusts as well, which is important.
Yes, it's very, very important, and even by the hour. So knowing that you have at when we were flying in Dubai is a good example. Was that when at X time, it's it's giving you that and this is like 3 and 5 days in advance. At this time, it's going to be too windy, but 2 hours later, it's going to be okay. And bang, it's usually pretty. But
I think that's reliant on the local data. Somewhere like Dubai, they're like, yeah, we've got millions of money. We'll just get the best weather possible because of the issues in Dubai and the Middle East. Whereas, I wouldn't rely on the weather systems in some certain countries.
No, but I mean, it's not really to do with weather. It's just wind. So wind was the issue.
But that's having to rely on a local data set of some description, surely.
I don't think it's local data set from windy. I think it's all satellite.
Was it okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is all satellite. So.
Just about you talked about the drone safety or drone assist app being like an old interface. Have you seen the website version? It's way better.
Is it?
It's like as nice as windy.com.
Sure, I don't think I've ever used the drone assist.
DroneSafetyMap.com, I want to say.
Drone assist.
No, I don't think you can log flights on it. I'm not sure. You might be able to. I've just looked at it.
Okay.
But DroneSafetyMap.com, I think it is.
Drone Safe UK.
Or DroneSafetyMap. Drone Safety.
Drone Scene.
Drone Safety Map. DroneSafetyMap.com is the website version of Drone Assist.
Really?
It's really quite good.
It's
way more user friendly.
I misspelt drone.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's a good start, isn't it? I'm like, it's not working. Yes, sir. You've actually misspelt drone.
But you can, I'm looking on it now. I can see loads of drone flights. Flight report, and it actually tells you the address and the flat they're flying from. I wouldn't do that. If you're putting reports in, put your home address in it.
I know, right?
You're probably going to get your drone stolen.
I always put my phone number when I log on flights.
I agree with that, but not like
always.
Not flat 1 XYZ
road.
No. Literally, I mean, everyone can find it themselves, but it says flat 1 5 something road.
Ooh,
W something London.
Okay, so this is the Altitude Angel core version of it, basically. Okay.
It's
nice.
It's quite smooth. It loads quite responsibly. It's way better. But if you see the shapes, right, go to just above the R zones in London, you'll see a shape.
Above
right there, see the shape?
London.
Oh no, up left, up there. Oh, left a bit. See the shape? Oh, there. No, down a bit. There, left a bit.
No, I don't.
No, left. Move your down. Oh no, go to the worm. Get the worm by the lake. On the right hand side, big worm.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the new shapes. Click on that.
Oh, very cool.
Does it say Counter Space Drones?
Flight report, Galliard Road. Flight reports allowed telling you the drone pattern. Yeah, very cool.
They've got shapes.
Yeah. It's not telling us what they're doing there, but you know.
But you know it's an Eve lost in there.
Yes, you can see from the corridor, can't you? So
yeah, you know it's a flight along that road. It doesn't say who it is. But then there's another one there in central London, which is like a squiggly thing for Old Oak Common.
Yes.
I know Network Rail are using these. That Old Oak Common's a railway depot, so it's probably a Network Rail flight. That's
very cool. But no, I didn't know this existed actually. So dronesafetymap.com. I'm certainly going to be using it in the future as well. I think it's excellent. Restricted airspaces, etc., that type of thing. So it's very, very useful. Thank you, Andrew. That's very good to know.
It's just about it. The app doesn't. I don't think they're putting money into. Whereas this seems to be the UTM
that
funding
is
type
much
thingy.
more updated. Yeah, absolutely. That is actually quite impressive. And we're going to show another web version of another app, which can be very useful. Which of course is Skywise. And what I like about this is because you can subscribe either through the website or you can download the app. I know downloading the app, you've got to give quite a lot of information, which some people don't like doing. But it does then give you alerts, things like NOTAMs, etc. And they're broken down, as you can see here, into the different notifications. So you've got drones, and then it will show you. Obviously, at the moment, it's just showing all of them because it's in a sort by filter. But again, it's showing you different types of things. There's one which is quite close to me, which is for Windsor. Alert for restricted airspace. We can probably understand why. Windsor Castle, forbidding drones from being flown without permission. So yes. So yeah. So again, that to me is quite an important one, and I think the notifications are quite handy when they come through, aren't they, from the Skywise site? And I do use the app myself as well, but I do like getting the little email notification, so you can subscribe to each different type of the service there, which is hugely helpful, I feel.
Just to ask the viewers, how many of you?
Sorry, there's people watching this.
I certainly hope so.
Oh, okay.
I washed my hair today. How many of the viewers actually announce their flights on these apps? Whether, obviously, whether you're in the US or whether you're in the UK or whether you're in, I think there's someone in here from Ecuador, actually. But how many of you actually announce your flights and put information about yourself on there? It would be interesting to know. Yeah.
Okay. Of the UK flyers that are watching, we've got 94 people watching, and I think a few of those people will be UK based, especially as we've been talking about the UK for quite a while. Put 1 in the chat if you use the Drone Assist app, and 2 if you don't use the Drone Assist app before you fly. I'd be interested to know that. That's an even simpler one as well. But yes, there's a few nopes going in there, and a few no's, but no, but we'll start doing it, says Legwork. And Flyzone Drones. Hi, Michael. He's saying hello to Drone Shots. Hello, sir. Good to see you.
By the way, don't make the mistake I made. It wasn't a mistake. It was just a misinformation. So I was told by an air traffic controller at Nat's facility that they could see the basically these would come up on their systems in terms of people marking flights. This is back when it was first launched.
Yeah.
And then quickly discovered that wasn't true.
That's right. Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I think it would have been quite cool because I remember the buzz of, if you put this in, then air traffic control know that your drone's going to be flying in that area. And
one of the things we have been able to influence is because we are linked into the National Network of Air Ambulances, and some of them are starting to check like the drone assist maps and things on a daily basis when they're doing their flight planning for the day.
Yeah.
Because all their ambulance pilots in the UK will do a briefing in the morning for their crew when they come on shift, and that will cover NOTAMs and all these other weather things and stuff for the day. And that's the sort of thing they also look at. So typical, like around their helipads, because they don't know where they're going, but that's the sort of thing they can check.
Exactly.
That's that is what we have in Finland. That is what we do. So we have Traficom, which is the government body who looks after cars and also aircraft legislation, all the rest of it. So they had their own application, which was called Drone Info, and it was pretty bad. But there was a bunch of guys who are kind of aviation experts, and they created their own app where they use APIs from different sites, and they get all the AIPs, and it's aimed at manned and unmanned aviation. So all the pilots, all the helicopter pilots will actually announce their flights, and we get that. So we see everything. So and they see everything. So and that's how they want to do it here. So they want that whole manned unmanned to be so that we all have visibility. So
exactly. Yeah,
very Mossad-esque.
So yes, so I think it's excellent. One of the things as well I did want to talk about, and this actually came up in the conversation that I had with an air traffic controller actually, and that don't be, I'm not going to say don't be afraid to contact air traffic control, because you should be dialing, hello, I'm a drone flyer. but actually with the right planning and using the right contact details on airport websites, etc., it is possible to actually get permission to fly within these NFCs, etc., if they know that you're going to be doing it, and the purpose and the height and the time of day and that type of thing.
What did you call them there?
What? I don't know what you mean.
Did you say NFCs?
NFZs.
NFZs. Okay.
Z. I said Z. It's my American influence. It's my awesome American.
As a qualified, GVC pilot now, I'm a bit disappointed there.
Come on, I have been on the phone to my American colleagues all day, so Z is definitely in the is definitely in the lexicon today.
Yeah, well, it's the wrong 2 letters at the start is the problem.
Okay.
Altitude Angel just messaged and said thanks for the plug.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. You're more than welcome, and thank you for all your hard work.
As you'll probably seen on this, we'll praise when it's worth it, and we'll happily criticize when it's not.
Yeah, no, indeed, and I have to say that website needs more publicizing, because obviously that will run smoothly on tablets and everything else. And certainly whenever I now recommend the Drone Assist app, I'm also going to recommend that dronesafetymap.com, because it's absolutely fantastic, frankly. It's
if you think Geeksvana just praises everything, Google Microdrone 4.0.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, my viewers are more than aware of when I get a bee in my bonnet.
Let's not open that can of worms, okay? Please.
Yes, we have some more content on Microdrone 4 coming up very soon. Otherwise known as more legal letters going across to Geeksvana. One thing that actually Mike Drennan's raising, which is he uses Lance at his previous house in the US, as he was within 2 miles of an airport when flying anything larger than 250 grams, which is awesome, sir. But actually, I really like Lance, and it's one of those ones that I'm a little bit almost not jealous of, because I don't find myself needing to fly. I would perhaps, if something like Lance existed, I would perhaps try to fly more in London and those type of areas, because I could get an instantaneous permission. I think permissions can be a little bit drawn out sometimes here, can't they? For certain zones, for good reason. I'm not saying for bad reason.
In a general rule of thumb, is your first is going to take 30 days, but we do same day turnarounds in some of ours now, because we're known. Once you're known, they know you're low risk. So yes, the first one, but you can do next day in London easily once you're in the system.
Oh, very good. And that'll be a video coming up very soon on Geeksvana, where Andrew McQuillan explains exactly how to get permission to fly your Mini 2 in central London.
We'll do a 48-hour live stream. I'll apply at the start. We'll fly in the second half of the show.
Yeah, there you go. 48-hour, crikey! The planning for the 24-hour charity stream is now becoming longer.
Just remember, we have to get you. You have to have a certain number of hours after drinking alcohol before you fly.
That's a good point. Yes, so the first 24 hours will be drunk. Yes, yeah. Or drinking.
Well, first 12, then we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Again, GVC pilot. Never mind.
Those flights are brought to you by Aviation Gin.
That's also a good point to mention, that anyone that's new here that's interested in this subject of where and how to fly in the UK, do hit the subscribe button, because we've got a practical video series coming up where I'm actually going to be taking on some of these more challenging circumstances as a hobbyist. I do have my A2 CofC and GVC, but I'm going to approach them as a hobbyist completely with a Mini 2 Air 2 type size drone. And actually, those videos are going to show me planning those flights, gaining permissions in some of the challenging circumstances, including REF zones and CAA, etc. And, how to go about gaining those permissions, because you can get them, and people do want us to, they're more than happy for us to fly our drones. That's another thing which I think is perhaps a bit of an incorrect preconception about manned aviation, is that they don't want us drone flyers in there. When actually most people in manned aviation are very passionate that the airspace is everybody's, basically, and that they want everybody to use it in a safe way, frankly. And I'm sure you'd agree with that, especially Stephen. I know you've got a lot of guys that even within the flyby guys who are manned aviators.
Yes, I think it just comes from the culture as well. I think that there is a lot of negativity in the UK and obviously the US as well. You have regulations. It's quite strict. I mean, when hearing just how difficult it is to just even take off in the UK is that isn't the case here. But the manned aviation and unmanned aviation side here, they really do support each other.
Yeah.
And I think that I can see a shift.
Yes.
From this pandemic at the moment. So there's lots of pilots within the manned aviation who are actually moving over to the unmanned side. because
Absolutely.
there's more of a future in the unmanned side, because we see that, you know, as soon as they start taking away the A380s, the 747s, and maybe the 777s, you know, that leaves a massive hole in the employment side. So, you know, a lot of these guys are really looking and saying, you know, there's not much future in manned aviation at the moment, but actually unmanned has got a better future. So
I would say that they're going into a niche area. They're going to the BVLOS world where there's more interaction with manned aviation traffic primarily and things. So I wouldn't want to scare people who aren't from an aviation background going into drones either, because it's a big enough thing for everyone to fit in. It's not a small industry at all, so it's big enough for everyone. But everyone has to, it's again, we always say a drone's a bit of a tool, use it for what you're good at, rather than just say I am a drone pilot. So, you know, manned aviation are more interactive with ATC in the manned world, therefore the stuff that flies above 400 feet is more at home to them.
No, exactly. I'm actually trying to download something as we talk, because I wanted to give Flyby Guys a little plug. Because it is an absolutely fantastic channel. One of the videos I love, which actually demonstrates exactly what you're saying, is where you had the Flyby Guys doing the exercise and the training of having multiple drones, etc., flying within manned aviation at one of the airports. That's a fantastic video. There's a link in the description to the Flyby Guys channel. I wholeheartedly recommend you go and have a look at that. But I'm actually also going to try and play, if it's okay, do you mind if I play that short video that you sent us, the trailer, which was edited by your daughter? I'm throwing that.
I would. Yes, but you can change the music because you might get demonetized.
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
I actually checked that, and I meant to play it previously and tell you, but I kept forgetting, frankly. So I'm going to play this one out. Let me just, look at that. Look what's happened there. Wow.
We seem to have swapped all the audio issues tonight for all video issues.
How the hell?
Everyone do this.
Oh no! Hang on, let me just
I'm now flying irresponsibly.
Were you in the Southern Hemisphere for that flight?
There we go. All right. Then we're going to make it big.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to make it big this side. This is a nice little trailer for the Flyby Guys channel, which I really like. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning and play it full. And
yeah. So this was made by my daughter. She edited this together a few days ago and sent it to me and said, "Look, Daddy, I want you to see what I done." And she made this.
It's actually one of her first attempts, isn't it, as well?
Yes,
what age is she?
She's 13.
Absolutely fantastic.
That's very good for 13.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to play this out because it's absolutely fantastic and everyone will see why it was worth all the extra button clicks, frankly. Yeah, and there's a link in the description to the Flyby Guys channel. So well done. I think that was a fantastic edit. Good. And that just again shows that, you know, anyone can get involved in these things. That's again someone getting involved in the drone industry by making that cool trailer.
Can we all in the chat say if you enjoyed that, just so you can see the
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Fly Zone Drone saying, "Wow, that's amazing for a 13-year-old." Did outstanding, Stephen. Even things like the right font and that type of thing, and the time.
That's a really nice font.
Yeah, it really impressed me, which is why I went to that trouble of downloading it from WhatsApp and bringing it over and flipping it over, etc. So fantastic work, well done. Yeah, I think you've got a future in editing if you choose to go that route. Obviously, you're with your father's fantastic genes and helping you along the way.
She's clearly in the next Dubai flight.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's right. I think a takeover bit at the top of the Flyby Guys might be coming.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Great. Lots of fantastic feedback in the chat there. So thank you guys for that. It's always great to promote these things. And when someone does something like that, it's like, oh yeah, hey, I just knocked this together, and this is like one of my first attempts. It's awesome. The fonts, the timing of everything, the music, perfect. I'm even risking a copyright claim just so we can play that out in full. So there you go. That's and these guys know how seriously I take those things. So there we go. Excellent. So absolutely fantastic. Okay, so again, I wanted to thank our sponsors again this evening, Drone Masterclass, A2 CofC, GVC. I wholeheartedly recommend this company. The chat below that's been talking all this nonsense, sense and facts, and has all this experience. He is the man from Drone Masterclass. Also, one of the primary instructors is another Andrew Hamilton, who him of former CAA drone lead fame. Again, another extremely experienced guy. Having just gone through the GVC course with Andrew Hamilton, I can honestly tell you it's a little bit scary, but it's also a little bit it's very much confidence building. Towards the end of the video series, backed up with the PDF manuals, etc., I really felt like I really started to know what I was talking about on the GVC course in particular. One of the things I do like as well, which is what they offer, again, because obviously with this, distance learning is fantastic, but sometimes you've got questions, that type of thing, is they do actually offer one-to-one video sessions as well. So you're able to actually book a video session and have a chat with the instructor, and really make sure you understand what's happening and really talk out your concerns and your worries, etc. Absolutely fantastic. And
we've just added 4 new staff onto our team. Ooh. And so if you go on their website, there's a live chat now. It's available during typical office hours, Monday to Saturday. But you can ask us questions live. So if there's something you don't see and we are online, you can actually ask us live.
Reach out.
That's really good, actually. That's excellent. That's really good.
And it is genuinely a very good course. And you know, by the time I came through to my I keep wanting to call it my live practical, but of course it's live because it's not.
Nearly wasn't live.
No, that's right. It's not a time traveling one. But when I did actually come to my practical flight exam, I genuinely felt like I was stood there thinking, okay, I'm nervous about putting this out on YouTube, but actually I'm not very nervous because one, I'm not dealing with the tech, so I'm not going to be having upside down pictures, etc. Thanks to the fantastic crew that helped us with that day, but also because I'd had that level of training and that level of support. One other thing I would say as well is actually, for those of you that know with the PSCO courses and that type of thing in the past, the template in terms of being able to put an ops manual together is absolutely fantastic, because it doesn't just give you an ops manual and say, put your name in here and your address in here and copy and paste which drone you've got down here. But it actually guides you how to write an operations manual. And I loved that. It's a huge document. It's fantastic, very detailed.
It's also based off our permission, and we have like EVLOS and everything, 1,000 feet flights, and down to 5 meters.
But it doesn't just say this is where you put your name and address. It says do this, and this is why, and this is what it will get you.
It's not an autocomplete form.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So
that gets you more. That gets you more of a competent operation. Then if you have a more competent operation, you're more likely to get extra permissions from the CA.
You're not following a template which has been put together by someone else. You're actually following an operations manual which you have formed and you're confident in because you know what's going on. So that's the end of that particular plug. But dronemasterclass.co.uk, wholeheartedly recommend it. Get down there, please. There's also our other show sponsor. There's a link in the description to their Moonrock Insurance .com for all your drone insurance needs. And they've got a very cool hobbyist product coming very soon, which is going to be very exciting.
And if you get our GVC, you get 30 days free with Moonrock.
You do. That's right. You get 30 days free
really
insurance,
well.
which is absolutely fantastic.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're reaching that point of the evening. Everyone can tell we're saying goodbye in the chat and that type of thing. It's time. I went to tuck myself into bed. And
somebody's off to Skype in American.
Is anything secret in this world anymore with you around? You actually should. Now I know Stephen does work for one of the secret intelligence services, but I think you actually should. Yeah. So,
you would be.
But what I would like to do first of all is ask if we've got anything exciting coming up. I've got some exciting flights and some wonderful videos coming up. Stephen, Flyby guys, I know channel-wise you're not quiet, but your 1 minute tip videos have been absolutely fantastic. You caused a bit of a stir with your DJI app issue with the satellites, which I wholeheartedly recommend you go and watch that video. That even prompted a direct response from DJI. So which is absolutely fantastic.
It was really good, and I got a really, really good response from the community. Mike at Fly Zone Drones, and that's everyone. Has said, this is something which is is actually real and is quite dangerous.
I think you're talking nonsense, but people seem to like it.
People seem to like it. I have a video coming out tomorrow. It's still processing there actually. But I was out filming it today. I was down at the beach filming. It was a beautiful day. It was a hot day.
Is it a 1 minute tip, or
it's not actually?
Okay,
it's not
so
a 1 minute.
You're
tip.
not just giving us the tip.
No, I'm not just giving you the tip.
Sorry.
Just a tip. But I probably will do a tip video tomorrow. I have one ready to go. So I'll put this other video at first. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow, the video I have to say.
Sorry, it started playing that video again. That's what happens when you load assets in after you set your show up carefully. Yes, yeah. Indeed, but it's so good. We're going to play it again. That was almost the perfect timing to play an advert for the Flyby guys. Actually, wasn't it?
It would have been the perfect. Yes, it would have been the perfect.
But hey, why spoil a perfectly awful live stream with something perfect? And you're off on your international travels again soon.
Yeah, I'm heading off to Togo.
Okay, no pressure. But what? As I focus the camera on you, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I can't say.
You can't say.
I can't say.
Is it drone related?
No comment.
Okay. Do you work for one of the national intelligence services?
National, yeah. Because there's lots of national intelligence services that don't work outside their country.
I more mean it's one that on that behalf of that nation.
I heard that he just got confused. He's a big fan of the song Africa. And he just got confused as to who performed that, and he just booked a holiday instead.
Yeah, that could be it. That's a very in joke, but hey.
There is actually somewhere in Africa, in the middle. I don't know if I said.
I should just cut the stream
Sahara.
There. Somewhere in Africa, cut.
I'm in Africa. This
is becoming a big grand jury.
Yeah. There's an MP3 player playing Africa non-stop, 24 hours a day
in Africa.
In Africa.
Please tell me it's a town called Todo.
No.
Might have to research that.
I'll find that. I'm going to find that and send it to you.
Please tell me there's like a webcam, like a webcam thing, like
on
a.
Yeah. I'm telling you, but it's true. It's true. They're actually playing it 24 hours a day.
We believe you. Why would someone do that? So
but it's not your Togo.
Andrew, do you have anything exciting coming up that you can talk about?
I have taken up the banjo, and I'm potentially going to perform a banjo bluesgrass album.
Fantastic. Is this
inspired by Steve Martin?
Is this part of our Three Amigos campaign?
Yes, I'm inspired by Steve Martin, who I think is a wonderful banjo player.
I like how you brought in the inspire there. I thought that was quite clever.
Inspired by, yes, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining Geeksvana Live. I really do appreciate it. For coming along with the journey. We had some fun stuff there, some serious debate as well. Hopefully that's helped in the preparation for some of the flights as we come out of lockdown. And I really appreciate you being here. This show once a week is something I really do enjoy. And I find it a fantastic interaction that we can have, etc. as well. We are very soon actually opening up a Discord, probably Discord, but some kind of messaging service, but probably going to use Discord. And again, I actually intend on one of those rooms being somewhere specific where viewers can actually tell each other where they found places to fly, which I think would be quite a useful thing as well. Yes. And how they gain permission and that sort of thing. So we get a bit of a community thing going in there as well. And that'll be open to all viewers. That won't just be a members thing or anything. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you think once I get my banjo thing sorted, like I could play us out one night?
I think so. I think we would actually all have to get the 3 Migo outfits and maybe even get 3 horses and everything else. How far should we take this is really down to the audience.
Well, I'm Chevy Chase, so
I'm Steve Martin.
Yeah, but I'm not Martin Short.
Yes, you are. Wow. You are so Martin Short.
I'm taller than you, and I'm pretty sure Stephen is.
Okay, so taking it on to the next level, Top Gear, the Grand Tour, etc. Who's Jeremy Clarkson?
I mean,
are you going to make me Richard Hammond?
I think I might be Clarkson because I'm a bit Marmitey sometimes. So I haven't punched anyone, but I have demanded steak. So
yet.
Now, but if you're Jezza and I'm Hammond, that makes Stephen the boring May.
He is the oldest of us.
Is he?
isn't he? I thought we established this before.
This is something completely non-drone related, and we're going off.
I thought we established this before.
Tangent. But
did we not establish this before?
One thing I would like everybody to put in the chat. Okay, so I'm about 5'10", 5'11". Andrew is huge. I met him in Northern Ireland, and I'm
6'1.5".
He's a monster. Frankly, he is.
I'm also quite tall.
Yeah, he was also quite tall. He stood up at his desk, and I was like, "Oh, hi! I'm going to stop taking the mickey out of you on streams." But in the chat, would you everybody have a guess in feet and inches, if you don't mind, at how tall Stephen is, please?
Just to confirm, that's his height of his body.
Yes.
Smeghead put out the Stig. The Stig would have to fly an FPV, surely.
Yes.
He would be the FPV pilot.
Yes, we do need a Stig, actually. Smeghead could be the Stig.
Our team FPV pilot.
Yeah, but now you've said who it is.
Oh yeah, he can't be the Stig now, can he?
The Stig has to be incognito.
Yeah, perhaps we could get one of the BV lost.
I know who could be the Stig.
Do you?
I'll tell you guys later.
Tell me off air. Okay. No one's guessing your height at the moment.
No, Travels with Rosie says 1.4.1. I'm not sure what measurement.
Oh no. That's actually, there's an issue with the Fly app.
I know.
Where you can't change the buttons, but okay. But yes, but I was actually shocked to hear that he is 4 feet 2.
4 feet 2.
What? 6'3".
See, I thought he was tall. I thought you were a tall dude.
I'm worried that he's short, and I'm going to look like Herman Munster when we meet up.
So, how tall is this man?
I'm 5'8".
Welcome to Geeksvana Live, where we talk about.
Sean, what are you?
I'm 5'10", 5'11".
Oh Jesus!
Depending on how much I hunch. So, did you just tell them how tall you were, Stephen?
Yeah, I'm 5'8".
I'm shocked. I thought you were over 6.
I knew what I'm going to buy for next time I go to Finland. I'm going to buy knee padded trousers so I can be on my knees to be the same height as both of you.
Look, guys, the only thing that's sure,
Stephen's bringing out his platform shoes again.
Yeah. I will never suffer from backache. So,
is that a weight issue? Are you talking about
No, it's a height issue.
Are you talking about the extra that I'm carrying at front here?
No, it's a height issue.
Are you, Stephen? Are you body shaming me, Stephen?
No, I'm saying that tall people.
Stephen, are you body shaming me?
I'm not body shaming you.
Can I point out about one of the apps we discussed earlier,
yes.
UV Forecast? That's obviously why you both rely on it, and I don't. I'm taller than you by quite a distance.
As you can see, what's happening with the weather. Mojak, what do I win for being closest on the height? You win viewer of the week on Geeksvana Live.
Yes.
No, he wins a cardboard cutout of Stephen because it'll only take about a piece of A4.
So we have 3 men arguing about a few inches on a live stream. That sounds like the whole of life, doesn't it?
So I was 5'8" when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, but it might be in a wheelchair now or something. You don't know that, do you? So. I'm 2 inches taller when I lie down, says Jimbo Sharp. I don't know what he means.
It's going to be like, do you remember in like the scenes like Home Alone and things where they're looking out for this person and they're talking to them? Like, that's when Stephen picks us up at the airport. It's like, who's doing that?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, hey.
Well, like I said, thank you very much for joining us tonight on Geeksvana Live. I really, really appreciate it. Next week, I need to plug next week because it's very, very important.
Next week.
Very important.
Yes, next week.
We are doing Christ, what's wrong with my language tonight? I apologize. We are having a bit of a Marsathon. We're going to be having some fantastic content talking about the Mars Ingenuity helicopter and, of course, the Perseverance rover that's up there, looking into what's happened and what's next for it as well. We'll be joined by Dr. Pascal Lee as a special live guest, and we've also got another mystery guest joining us via recorded video as well. So that's going to be extremely, extremely exciting. Do not miss it. There's going to be reveals during the week. I'm going to put thumbnails up with who could the mystery guest be, and it's going to build up to the crescendo of who it is, of course. So I'm really looking forward to that. Who is
the mystery guest?
So that's not the point of me doing a build up to it. If I just say
you're a massage, you probably already know. Can I just? You remember Top Gear and all used to end on that bombshell?
Yeah.
I've got one of those for us.
Okay, go.
I know why Stephen was so urgent to get. I was just so we could see in the kitchen cupboards.
I've brought you back now. I've brought you back. I couldn't resist when you said, "I've got a good one. I've got a good one."
It's he was so desperate to get one because he wanted to see in the kitchen cupboards.
That's why he got a Mini 2.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. See you next time. Stephen won't be returning. Are you joining me next week, Stephen? I can't remember.
Steve, how many books are you sitting on?
How many books are you sitting on? He might have a very adjustable chair. So,
thanks everyone.
His laptop's on the